think we are live.
Whoa! Oh my gosh,
Yes,
what a rush.
we see that we are live, so we must be live. Hi, Brad. How are you?
I'm stressed. How are you?
I'm good. Maybe a little bit stressed, but I think it's exciting that we have this month a hackathon that we call Honcathon because of our Honk app. And it's also cool that we can raffle away some headphones today. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to be a very short live stream. Only 15 minutes. For everyone who might be joining now, you can still join the headphone raffle. Basically, we raffle away a pair of Sony headphones for everyone who has signed up so far, and we do that by the end of the stream. So if you haven't signed up, you can go to honk.dev honkathon and sign up for the honkathon and scan the QR code. And yeah, the honkathon is basically a hack month where we encourage you to build a project based on our honk stack. It's Hono, the ORM is Drizzle, Neon as a database, and a Cloudflare worker, basically. That's the setup. And we have 3 categories. Oh, well, theoretically it's 4. Brad, which one is your favorite category of those that we have?
I mean, I don't want to. I mean, it's the AI category, which it makes me sound like I'm a AI fanboy. But yeah, I don't know. It's probably my
It
favorite
makes sense. You
category.
just came back from San Francisco. I understand that, so it's okay.
Impacted me.
So it's the AI category. Actually, today, what we also do is we set a simple demo because there's also another category. It's called webhooks. And the webhook category is basically build a honk app around any webhook that could trigger it. And Brad, let me show what I've done for the Honcathon. And you might think afterwards this is over-engineered, but let's see. So if people visit this website, honk.dev, they come to this website, there is a nice goose on it, and also when they want to sign up, what we have embedded is a type form. Then a type form obviously is not enough. What we do with type form is we trigger an external tool called Customer.io, and I think that's for marketing campaigns, but also email campaigns. And what we do is sending out a registration email afterwards automatically. And then, I mean, of course, Customer.io would have a Slack plugin, but I mean, we have the Honk stack and we have a webhook category. So I decided I go and build a Honk app that has an endpoint, and I use a Customer.io webhook to trigger that endpoint. And then once we trigger the endpoint in my own application, what the application does is it sends a message to our Slack. So we get a notification that we have a new person signed up, so we can celebrate that. And we also store that person in a Neon database. And that becomes important for the raffle because we will raffle away the headsets with a random selection from the Neon database. Yeah, I've done this now. I would be interested. You've been working with webhooks, I guess, also in the past. What do you think is challenging when you work with webhooks?
I think it's the pretty common thing of you often with these like systems are very, very, very asynchronous, and sometimes you want to trigger an event that might have several steps before it, and so replaying some event that happens in a system that's powered by webhooks can just cost a lot of time. So like capturing things and replaying them is important, but like the last thing that I built that incorporated a lot of webhooks was had to do with like longish running AI jobs. And so there were like progressive status updates about like a training job. And obviously I didn't want to kick off a new training job because every time to trigger those, just because it costs a lot of money. So having the ability to like capture something, or even just capture something and replay it multiple times to make sure that your system responds correctly to that type of event without actually firing off that event every single time. That's to me like one of the biggest pains about working with webhooks.
Yeah, and I feel also like once you start working with webhooks, every tool provider does them a little bit differently. So you always have to also look into the third-party application to understand the types of event that can come, and also the type of payload that your application might get or might not get.
Yeah, in this case, the docs were like kind of not super helpful. The client libraries weren't typed, so they didn't tell you what kind of payloads you might expect. So yeah. That's always another thing, is just like, it's the Wild West, Wild Webhook West.
The wild webhook West. I mean, I like the webhooks for the reason that your application doesn't have to pull the updates from that external third-party application, right? So you don't have to make sure your application has a cron job that is polling like every hour or whatever, or that you want to have it up and running all the time. I think that makes it quite handy when you also have a Cloudflare worker that is serverless. So you just react to the event that's coming in. So I think that's handy for the runtime and for the performance of the application. So it's not like online all the time, I would say. Maybe that's not right phrased, but you know what I mean, I guess.
I know what you mean. Everyone knows what you mean.
Okay, perfect. Cool. Let's maybe look into the application. Well, I just told you that I switched from my Linux computer to Mac again because of the camera. It's better on Mac for hosting a stream. But yeah, so now I'm back with some shortcuts I'm not used to. But yeah, so let me close that for a moment. By the way, if you want to look at the examples and the categories for the Honcathon, we have created under the Create Honk app. That's in GitHub. I can share that link. There are example apps for all the categories. And here's also the webhook customer IO repo, where you can see, or where you can also afterwards, if you want to see how everything works, or if you want to check that out yourself, that's all public available. And what you see here is we have the database schema, we have some middleware for authentication and for validation of the input that comes in. But yeah, I think it's quite simple. It's a simple Hono application. It has here the post endpoint, API sign up, and I already basically said what it will do. It will send a Slack message. It's not waiting for it to return to the user, and it's also inserting the person into the database. And my application is running here. And I also spinned up Fiberplane Studio next to it. And I think the one part is now, okay, I have this locally, and we haven't talked about that. Testing webhooks locally also requires you have to set up a proxy, and that sometimes can be tricky. I tried it directly in VS Code Studio. For example, for the Strava webhook, it was not working because you need to make sure there is a certain, something comes back from the webhook in terms of like, was not doing it correctly. But yeah, so luckily we can do that directly in Fiberplane Studio, and that's where I'm taking you now, coming back to my nice architecture here.
As a quick aside, I just realized that, like, I don't know if everyone sees the powered by StreamYard icon on this, but
I think so, yeah.
Okay, I do. It's just kind of funny to me. There's just a duck here. Anyways, I didn't mean to derail you. Just,
maybe we can pay them and they put a goose on top of there, like, a goose with headphones.
And it has headphones. It has headphones on it. And
it has headphones, yeah.
That's very thematically appropriate. Okay, sorry. Quick aside. That's okay.
But yeah, it's actually funny. It's a duck. Yeah, I mean, Fiberplane Studio, it detects your root in your application, but I really want to highlight for webhook development the proxy feature. If you go to the settings, you can set that actually here, and it's already enabled. And once you save that, it will basically create you here a URL that you can copy and paste. And now we go for a minute to the nice part, which I hate, is going to those third-party applications and being in the config for a moment to configure a webhook, basically, or to see how that looks like. And here I paste already the address. And yeah, I think the one point is you make sure to also have your endpoint mentioned here. I selected myself. I hope I don't display any data from someone else here. And then that's something very specific to custom IO, that you have to use Liquid here as a language to get access to the single fields that came in from the TypeScript from the type form, basically. And I said we have a middleware for authentication. Normally you would see the value here. For security reasons, I have that not in the stream. So, but what we can still do is we can send the test. And let's hope that's working.
If it doesn't work, I actually have yeah. Okay. Try sending it one more. Send it one more time.
Okay.
Oh
Nope.
no. Okay. Oh, I need to
I
answer this.
mean, I did it in the stream before, so maybe we have just to believe that it's working. Maybe something in between happened.
Yeah, so it may have sent it, may have not. So one thing that I noticed when I saw the customer IO code is, and this, maybe try saying it one more time. The third time is the charm.
3
Because
times.
sometimes there is a timeout inherent to certain webhooks. Okay, no, this could have been something else. So certain webhook providers like expect a very speedy response, and they'll either fail when like that timeout, if it doesn't happen within a certain amount of time, and then it just starts like retrying a bunch. In this case, I have no idea what's going wrong, so I should probably check the logs for the webhonk.
I have to tell you, I like what worked for me before is just basically restarting Studio and deleting the old webhook and creating a new one. But maybe
Okay.
that's something we want to look into.
Yeah, definitely.
But let me, because I'm a little bit afraid of demo, not afraid, but in terms of like things can go wrong. If I go, I did this before the screen, obviously, or before we started. I sent already a request, like 3 requests to be on the sure side, as you can see. And what happens if you send your webhook? What basically comes in is that you see it received the call, it gets a 200 back, new person registered, it's Nele. And you also see here the body. And I think that's quite handy of what you've mentioned before. Now you know how your payload looks like. And now basically once you are here in Studio, I can also say now it's not me registering for this. Now we do your email address. You also want to be part of the Honcathon, so that's not your handle, I guess. Is it Boots?
It can be. Why not? It's
It
not.
can be.
I wish it
Boots.
were. The person who took Boots on GitHub was like OG there at the beginning, and they seem very cool. But I rarely get Boots on anything I sign up for.
But yeah, I mean, I can send this now again, and I have not to go to the custom UI platform to trigger this in my local environment. I can just basically do that here from the Fiberplane studio. And I think that can be quite handy if you start doing local stuff, or if you want to develop locally the payload that you get in and also see what you expect. Another nice thing here is one of my things, or my favorite things, is what we also see is the app behavior. So we see basically here that the data was inserted into Neon. That's here basically. The neon icon, we also get the SQL query that was sent for it. And then this one here is a Slack message, basically the other one. So we see basically both things have happened in that call chain, so to say. And now you should be in the database, but set notification, Brad, you can't run the headphones, but that's something that we do now at the end. I go to Neon, and I saw that actually by a demo from someone from Neon. I think Ralph did that, and I found that was quite cool. So that's a custom IO database. I go here to the query. I have here already the random user selection. I run this, and we have a winner. Viba Raj. I hope I pronounced it correctly. But congratulations, you win some headphones. And nice. Yeah, I think that's everything for today. Brad, thanks for joining the raffle. I hope you had fun.
Thanks.
Cool.
I did.
And I guess we see you soon, because stay tuned. We will have some more stuff coming up for the Honcathon, and you might see us more often now. Have a good day, good evening, wherever you are, and see you soon. Bye.
Bye.